bechamel and you add cheese as well, it's amore. Some may say it's from Mars, some may call it cheese sauce, it's amore. You can put it in a lasagna tin, make it thick or thin, and do it your way. When you make bechamel and you add cheese as well, it's amore.
You're listening to Rebecca Bowen with Quite a Stir on Radio Cardiff 98.7 FM.
Good evening. You're listening to Rebecca Bowen, and tonight I'm joined by one of Wales' most respected chefs. He's the man behind Home in Penarth, a restaurant known for its passion, precision and putting Welsh ingredients centre stage. Chef James Sommerin has built a career at the very top level of British cooking, but his work is also rooted in family, place and personality. James, welcome to the show.
Good evening.
It is great to have you with us, it truly is. Would you like to give shout outs to family and friends listening in?
Yeah, well, I know my wife's up in Scotland. She said she was going to listen in on this evening. So, yeah, hi Lou. No, it's great to be here. Thanks for inviting us.
Oh, you're welcome. What part of running a Michelin star restaurant do you think people underestimate the most?
Probably the amount of effort that goes in.
Yeah.
It's eat, sleep and breathe anything and everything that you're doing with the restaurant. But I think that's the same with any business nowadays. I think you have to have your finger on the pulse in every aspect of your business to make it succeed.
To make it succeed. And I think consistency at scale for every single service. Most people imagine a Michelin starred restaurant being about creativity or rare ingredients, and those do matter. But the truly difficult part is serving maybe 100 plus guests and ensuring that the first plate and the last plate are identical in quality, temperature, seasoning, presentation, timing. There's no room for error. You have to execute hundreds of tiny decisions flawlessly and build a system that allows a team to reproduce it perfectly night after night.
Yeah, it's your heart and soul on a plate. I think a lot of people don't truly understand how much of a person is put onto that plate in front of you. Mm-hmm. Like for me and my daughter or anybody that's in the team, you give your 110% because we want to make your evening something special. It's not all about the food, it's about the entire experience. And yeah, creativity, hey, don't get me wrong, there's certain times I'll change things on the plate during service and the guys look at me and it's like, yeah, come on, there should be no sort of limits to what you want to do to create. And I think actually breaking it down is a little bit better sometimes. Mm-hmm. It allows that creativity to flow a little bit more and actually to give it a little bit more passion to the guys that are working around you.
So you're constantly evolving?
Oh, all the time. Every day. You're only as good as the service you're in.
Wow.
So it's that performance. It is a performance. It's the same as going out on stage night after night or to have a show like you have this evening. It is very much... We're in that service, you have to make it the best you possibly can.
And you mentioned your daughter, she works for you. How old is your daughter?
Georgia, she's 27, amazing little chef. She has worked with me pretty much her entire career. She did a little stint at a 2 Michelin star restaurant in London, but then came home to dad and mum and didn't want that. She's amazing. And also amazing at juggling being a mum as well as a chef. So she's got a little boy. Yeah, we got a little grandson, Noan. He's 2 and a bit.
Oh, lovely.
And that's probably the biggest achievement really is seeing her develop and how... Yeah. But she's not just, we've got 3 girls and they're all amazing and they're all different stages of their life and what they're doing in career-wise. It's amazing.
Beautiful, fantastic dad as well as an amazing chef.
Yeah,
and it is a work of art on the plate. I'm sorry, but it's a work of art. When you're Michelin star, it's something else.
I think every chef, no matter what you're plating, it is a work of art for everything. Yes, somebody said to me, it's a work of art. I said, I draw when I'm on a plate. My plate is my canvas.
Yeah.
So for me, it is very much about drawing.
Yeah.
People eat with their eyes first and foremost. Let's make it look sexy. Let's make it look amazing. And that's that's part of you as a person.
Not everyone can do it though.
No.
So don't underplay that. That's amazing. What's a decision you made for Home that really paid off and one that nearly didn't?
Oh, the decision for Home, the name. probably the biggest thing, the biggest decision. We were sat down, Lou, myself, and we're talking over, you know, what we should call the restaurant, and it was actually Lou that made the decision and said, or made the suggestion that we should call it Home. And it was like, wow, that's home is very personal to every one of us.
Yeah.
But for different reasons. And yeah, it kind of, home is our home.
Yeah.
We're inviting you into our home because we want you to see what we want to give you. So that's probably the hardest thing that was probably the biggest thing that paid off. One of the hardest things that hasn't paid off, I don't know. Maybe the size of it sometimes is a bit too small. I think we get a little bit frustrated when we got to turn tables away because we physically can't sit them down.
That's a shame.
Not that happens a huge amount anymore, but it still is. You know, Fridays and Saturday nights. You know, this Saturday I know I've turned tables away quite a few because we're just not big enough, and we can't. And I certainly wouldn't want to turn tables because when you come to home, the evening is yours. Whether you're in at 6:30 or it's one sit-in. You come in, you take your time.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I love that.
It's very hard because we run a tasting menu. We run either a 5-course or an 8-course. But it's not actually 5 or 8 courses because then there's 5 little elements that you get at the start plus bread. There's usually 2 elements on the main course. So you end up with quite a lot of food and people need to take their time to enjoy it. And that's the most important.
Right, yes. But going smaller, more personal, family run with Home then, the whole concept revolves around being an extension of the family rather than just another fine dining venue. It's a beautiful concept, more inviting. A Michelin level dish can be flawless, but if the room feels cold and void of atmosphere, you immediately feel uncomfortable. But what you've created with Home is a perfect balance of warmth and excellence.
Yeah, that's what we try to do. I think one of the biggest misconceptions for diners is that people think that to get a Michelin star, it's about food and the service and the ambience and everything else. The Michelin star comes for the food that's served on the plate and nothing else. Doesn't matter whether you've got tablecloths or sommelier, 15 staff running around the floor. It's about the food that's served on the plate. And I think that's probably the biggest misconception. But for me, it's an extension of all of it. So we want you... I have a quote that I say, if you feel comfortable enough to kick your shoes off under the table, I've done my job.
Wow, did it? Yeah.
Because it's very much about us as a family, what we can give you, and hopefully you get the dining experience that I would like to receive, or us as a family would like to receive when we go out for dinner. And that's very special.
Of course it is. Loving that. How do you keep yourself creatively fresh after cooking at such a high level for so long?
I think the biggest key for us is that everything's seasonal, so we're given what we need as and when. So as the season changes throughout the year, we cook with what's available. It's not about using asparagus in December and strawberries in November. It's about when they're at their best now. Yes, we use truffle when it's round, and we might use a bit of caviar and all. We use some of the luxurious items, but in essence, it's all about the seasonality of it all. So, we actually have a menu change next week, and strawberries are at their best coming through. But we've been tasting strawberries for weeks because we want to make sure that they're at their finest of flavour to be able to utilise them then. We normally change the menu every 5 weeks. So we keep the seasonality really strong. But we're going on holiday in August, so I made the decision to flip the menu in 4 weeks so that we get the opportunity to utilise some of the ingredients, because by the time we come back off holiday, we might not have them around, and I don't want to miss them. Yeah. So for instance, this year, we have a cherry dessert on at the moment. Last year, cherries didn't hit the menu because they weren't flavourful enough, they weren't good enough. And I don't see why we should be given something that's substandard.
No, yeah. So you're true to your vision. And I think if you follow trends tirelessly, you lose your soul, don't you?
Yeah, I think that, the seasonality of it all is the biggest thing. And food is very trendy, and we all have that instant access to the internet on your phone 24/7, where you can see what people are doing, and it's amazing how many people copycat stuff across the world.
Yeah, I know. What does a good service mean to you personally?
Smiley faces, happy customers. That's the most important. That, and actually for myself and my team to really enjoy what we do.
Yeah.
And that comes as you sit down at the table and you get to open up and you speak to customers on a normal basis. So people lose that, ooh, he's a Michelin star chef sort of attitude, because at the end of the day, I'm just a normal person like everybody else. But I just love what I do, and hopefully my infectious sort of attitude to what we create rubs off you on all the customers, and then you kind of walk away going, wow, in every stretch of the imagination.
Do you get anybody starstruck like me?
Oh yeah, you get some people a bit shocked when we actually, or if I come over and talk, and also Georgia's represented Wales twice on the Great British Menu. And
yes, go on, Georgia.
Yeah, she's amazing, and at the moment her cherry dessert is the dessert that she did the last time on Great British Menu. Yeah. And there's no prouder moment for me to listen to her to be able to say, guys, this is my Great British Menu dessert. And when she's not in the dining room, it gives me the greatest of pleasure to say, guys, one of the proudest moments for me is seeing Georgia get on the programme, and this is her dessert. Because it's really cool. It's a family team.
Yeah, you've nurtured her, you've taught her. She didn't go to any culinary school or college.
No, she's got Dad's stink eye as well, I will say that. So she's got one of those looks that even puts the willies up me when she looks sometimes.
I love it. Would you have pictures with customers when they come in, I think?
We have pictures with customers. Some people, I find it really cringy. But, it's like, I do still look at myself. I'm just a cook. I just love to cook. And when people ask for photos, it's great. I enjoy it, but I also, find myself cringing
so
a little
humble with it. It's just feet firmly on the ground there. You haven't let it get to your head.
No, Dad would slap it out of me if he did. I must be honest. It would be, Mum and Dad would have been. There's no airs and graces, but do what you do and do it well.
Fabulous.
You're listening to Rebecca Bowen with Quite a Stir on Radio Cardiff 98.7 FM.
Welcome back to the show. I'm joined with Chef James Sommerin of Home in Penarth, Michelin star chef no less. Now, nobody keeps Michelin star standards for years without caring deeply about excellence. Home seems to reflect a broader definition of success. Has your idea of success changed since opening Home?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was very much for me, one thing I had to do was to achieve a star again. Because when you get a star, you're assessed every year. So it's not like you get it and then you've got it for the rest of your days. So for me,
every year? Wow.
Yeah, every year. So the big goal for me was to make sure that we tried to get a star straight away. And actually we had 2 Michelin inspectors on one table. Ooh. 5 weeks after we opened. It's completely incognito. You don't know who they are, but I'd actually met one of them before a long time ago, and it was just like, I know what this is. And we didn't do anything different to what we would do for the customer next to them. We just had to make sure it was on point. And I think now I would say we've relaxed more into it. I worry less. It's more about the enjoyment of it all, and I think with any chef that truly enjoys themselves, it comes through in the food.
Of course it does.
And I think that's probably the biggest thing that's changed, is more the fact that we've relaxed more into it now.
Beautiful. Chefs are notoriously chaotic in the kitchen. Are you in that category, or calm under pressure?
Calm under pressure.
Yeah?
100%. Yeah.
Good.
Very methodical. Tried and tested. It's one of those. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We create a menu. It stays for 5 weeks, and then we work into it. Probably the first day or two of the new menu that starts is my worst days.
Okay.
Just because I'm really edgy. Because you taste it, you check it, you trial it, and then you wait in to see how the customer responds to those dishes. Whether it's a wow, or is that really amazing, or if there's no comments. Like I said before, it's very much about me giving myself to a dish, and we want everybody to receive it in the same format that's in your head. It's not necessarily not perfect sometimes, but try hard.
When you put your heart and soul on the plate, you are precious about it, and scared, I expect.
Yeah, scared, and you don't want that negative feedback. So you want, we always we want to exceed expectation.
You're giving the best of yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Like anybody, like any artist really, or anybody in business, you want to succeed and you want to do well. Most importantly, I want to see a smile. I just want to connect with people, and I think food gives that connection on a different level.
So, when you saw that Michelin star chef, Michelin inspector. You don't know who they are usually, but you knew who that one was.
And I crapped myself. it was one of those, it was like, oh no, we'd literally been in 5 weeks and we didn't feel like we were ready. We didn't feel like we were, completely run in, because, it was a new restaurant. It was smaller. It was open plan. We cook and serve the food. We serve the food to you. You come and sit in and you've got my attention all night.
Wow.
So we have, our total team is a team of 7, and it primarily leads up of myself and my wife and my daughter, and then I have my sister-in-law, my daughter's partner. He's maybe future son-in-law, if you're listening, Eloise.
Nice.
One of those, and
Congrats.
it's and then we got 2 others that are in the team that aren't part of the family, and that's it's a family business in a nutshell. So when you're trying to give, you want everybody to get the whole
home feeling,
Sommerin home experience.
Beautiful. So you've got high standards without drama, and the fact that your daughters cook alongside you speak volumes. Yeah,
it does.
What makes home different from other restaurants in Wales?
Well, I think it's the fact that it's a family business. I think we've gone through that, where a lot of restaurants years ago used to be family operators. There would be the father in the kitchen, the mum working on the floor, and then you might have 1 or 2 of the children working on weekends, where because they had to, not because they wanted to, but because they had to. And I think we've lost a lot of that now. A lot of it is bigger chains, where a lot of people turn up because it's a job, less of the passion, and I think it's very hard. So to actually have an authentic family business is quite few and far between.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, and the experience starts before the first dish. Luxury combined with comfort in a family-led environment, warmth instead of intimidation. Home is a Michelin-starred restaurant that somehow manages to feel like a family gathering that just happens to be cooking at an elite level.
It's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah. Do you feel the pressure of keeping that star in this climate, when some chefs in the area have had to change their image to survive?
I think, you do. As costs have gone up, inevitably every cost has gone up to every business, and I would say, well, I have that same pressure all the time. You get up in the morning, you want to create the best, you want to do the best, and I would never want to lose a Michelin star. So you always have that pressure, I think, behind you. But you evolve, and we all evolve. As long as you can put the same heart and soul into it, using the same quality ingredients, to adjust and progress is never a bad thing. It's just making sure that you're still maintaining that level of quality.
Yeah. Guests don't solely book with you because it's Michelin starred, though. They're booking because it's home. That distinction matters. It's the restaurant's appeal, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it's got quite a broad appeal as well. We cater for halal, and so as long as we've got a bit of notice, we cater for all dietary requirements, which I think nowadays is few and far between, with some, especially with some Michelin star restaurants. A lot of people, and I completely understand it, because it is hard work to cater for. But if you're vegetarian, vegan, any allergies that you've got, we can cater for that.
Really?
We do need a little bit of notice.
Right.
So when we always say to people, if you're going to book, and there's a little comments note, there's little buttons you can click to say you've got allergies for dairy, gluten, vegetarian, you name it, and we'll do our best to cater for everything as much as possible.
Wow, amazing. How do you feel Welsh food and chefs are being viewed now compared to like 10 to 15 years ago? Wales is certainly a foodie haven now, isn't it?
Oh, Wales is becoming amazing. And I think it's about time too. I think, Wales, I think one of my biggest worries has always been when you see Wales put on likes of Great British Menu, and being part of that, I've been on the rough end of the stick from comments on social media.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I think there was a time when Wales was kind of looked maybe down upon and not producing some of the most amazing chefs, or it was a bit limited to some of the people who were there.
Yeah.
But we've had some iconic chefs in Wales, and there's more and more, and it's becoming more and more established. And I think it's just amazing the fact that Cardiff's got a star, Vale Glamorgan's got a star, we've got Abergavenny, and then Inisir up in Machynlleth. Gareth's food is world class, and he's really created something special. But we have amazing ingredients here, from coast to mainland to soft fruits, beautiful vegetables. It's not just lava bread, cockles and leeks. There's an awful lot more to Wales.
And what makes your journey stand out is how home seems to represent a different stage of your career. You've already proven yourself. Now you seem to be focused on building something that aligns with your values. And your dishes are a nod to personal memories and modern technique rather than relying on the obvious national references like you just said. And the result is food that feels rooted in Wales and family without becoming a showcase for those cliches. Yeah,
well, I'm not into the whole shock and awe when it comes to food. And people, we've all gone through that stage in our... Certainly I went in through the stage in my career where there was that sort of gastronomic... sort of molecular gastronomy where you were turning every bit of fruit into a powder, then adding water back to it and resetting it back to the powder it was, to the fruit it was, and I've done that. It's more about the care for the ingredient, showcasing something that is approachable, because I think a lot of people have this stigma of Michelin star restaurants being, it's a little bit on the edge because it's a bit weird, or that they don't fit into coming into a Michelin star restaurant. And to be fair, our Michelin star restaurant is for everybody. Yes, it's not cheap because ingredients are expensive. There's an awful lot of time and effort that goes into it. The margins are small, but you're going to get the best of the best. We want you to have the best ingredients. We want you to have the best service, and treat it with respect. And I think home encapsulates everything about what we can offer as a family, but also with Welsh produce as much as possible. Absolutely.
And you're cooking there. It's not a franchise with your name across the door.
No, if I'm not there, we're not open.
Do you know what I mean?
So there's all pretty much before my grandson Georgia and I were on the stove every night, and I do try to give her a couple of nights off now so that she can be mum, because that's super important. To allow her to be able to grow within whatever she wants to do, certainly career-wise, she has to have time to be mum, because you can't get that time back. And I think, I did my bit where, when the kids were little, from probably age of, I would say, 3 to 9, I didn't really see Georgia an awful lot, because I was pushing for my career and making sure that I could do as well as I possibly could. But I also see that on the other, where I need to be able to give her time, because I missed a lot of time, and that's really important.
Anyone listening to this is just going to fall in love with you tonight.
Something about that.
Because it's such a beautiful sentiment. What's your ultimate comfort food at home?
Oh, I love my wife's lasagna.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I really do. Yeah, I think it's one of those. It's comfort food for me. Well, anything as far as sitting around a table with the kids and Lou, that's comfort food. And I'm not a big roast fan, but Lou does a nice roast, and when we can sit down, it's about family time. It's about chewing the cud, having a laugh, maybe even annoying each other a little bit. It's one of those, but that's the comfort side of it. Yeah,
of course it is. And the engineer loves a lasagna as well. He chews that one with you.
You're listening to Rebecca Bowen with Quite a Stir on Radio Cardiff 98.7 FM.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined with Chef James Sommerin of Home in Penarth, and I have to admit I was really nervous about tonight, because you are a Michelin star chef and like a celebrity chef, and you are such a really humble, down-to-earth guy. I'm definitely going to come to your restaurant. I won't be afraid now.
Brilliant.
Isn't it silly that a lot of people have that kind of mentality about going to...
Yeah, I guess you see things on TV and how people react on TV, and actually, when juxtapose, you're not that at all.
Juxtapose, super varies. What's the worst thing you've ever cooked, and why? Technical nightmare scenario.
Oh, that's really funny, that is, because I think the worst thing that I've ever cooked, and it actually wasn't for the restaurant. I'm into fishing. I love I love a bit of coarse fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like one of the prime example. They use hemp for fishing with, just little grains. And I put a pan on the stove to boil one evening and fell asleep, and actually burnt the entire pan and smoked the house out and all the rest of it. So that's probably the worst thing I've ever cooked. Yeah. And it wasn't even for human consumption.
And speaking of fish, I mean, every fish has a different thickness. Residual heat continues cooking after it leaves the kitchen. 5 or 10 seconds can be the difference between translucent or dry. And a Michelin guest immediately noticed if it's overdone. But talk about fishing, I've got 2 fresh trout in the house, caught by my brother's boss at NFU Mutual. Big up, Mo. Thank you. We're going to have that tomorrow.
Nice.
Who were your biggest influences or mentors in the kitchen?
I've got a couple. My biggest influence was my grandmother, and she was an amazing lady who used to cook for the sheer joy of it. She also used to cook because she used to raise a lot of money to help with a mentally handicapped society. So every week as a kid, we would go to Nan's or Grandma's on a Friday night after school. She would cook us a Sunday roast and with my mum and dad, and then on a Saturday we'd stay the night, me and my sister, and then on the Saturday she'd always ask, what do you want to do? And it's like, can we cook? I can even shut my eyes and the smell of her kitchen, I'm right back there. It's one of those. And I learned to make anything from corned beef pasties to Scotch eggs, bread, toffee, you name it. Whatever she could afford to do,
no way,
we would do it. She lived in a little council flat, and it was just lovely.
I bet she's well proud of you now.
She has been dead a long time now, but when I did the first Great British Menu, she was actually on there. And it was amazing because that
she
really made up for me. But she was my biggest influence for wanting me to learn to cook. My second biggest influence was a guy called Richard Lythe. I left Wales when I was 16 for a job, and I moved to Scotland, and Richard was the head chef that I went to work for, and I worked for him for 4 years. A truly inspirational character, very quiet, very humble man, an iron rod, and I absolutely adored him. Sadly passed away 2 months ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was really sudden and such a shame. But, he taught me the values of being a chef, the attitude to put your head down, work hard, listen to people, and absorb everything, because you will forget an awful lot more than you learn. And it was very much that. He was a guy that never achieved a Michelin star, and should have. He was... a phenomenal mentor. I only hope I've done him proud.
Oh, you certainly have. How old were you when your nan taught you how to cook? How old were you when you were making?
I used to cook with her from when I was 6.
You're kidding me.
6, 7, 7, 8,
Wow.
and right the way through up until when I was 15, 16.
That's impressive. Living that. Is there a Welsh ingredient you think deserves more attention nationally?
It's quite a tough one, because we all know about the things like lamb and some of the beef, the Welsh beef that we got, amazing sea bass that we have, and we get some fantastic seaweed. I think one of my favourites is probably things like Welsh lobster, which from Carmarthen, Cardigan Bay lobsters, some of those are phenomenal. But I don't think that any one particular screams more than the other. I think we just have a great plethora of ingredients to be able to utilise here.
Nicely. What do you look for in a young chef joining your kitchen?
Passion.
Passion.
The want to learn. You can teach the rest. It's the understanding of, you've got to put your 110% into it. That's the most important. If they want it, then you can help with the rest. The hardest thing is to keep the enjoyment up with it all, because there's going to be lots of moments when you muck things up, you get told off, you got to park it, turn a page, start again, don't do it a second time, and it's a long road. Unfortunately, youngsters, everybody wants everything now. I think we're in a generation where we're not willing to hold back and learn the craft and put 110% to it every day of the week, people look for acknowledgement a little bit quicker now.
I know.
And that's just the way the world is now. And it's a long road in a kitchen. You've got to really put your graft in and your groundwork first before you start to move up, because ingredients are expensive, so you've got to learn to be able to treat them with respect and do the job properly.
No, yeah, that's true. So you think cooking is taught or caught? Because you said you can teach. You
can teach.
Michelin star level? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone can cook. I think it's whether you want it, and that's individual, isn't it? Like I've taught loads of guys over the years, and I can think of 1-2 chefs that have achieved same level.
No way.
Yeah, and that's not just through my teaching. That's more through working with me, then going on to better and stepping up a level, and then maybe going to 2 Michelin star, 3, and I think it's amazing. I think we can all cook. It comes down to you as a person whether you want it, because you've got to give up an awful lot.
But you think everyone can achieve Michelin star?
I don't know.
I don't see.
I don't know. But then I also look at myself and I think, how did I achieve a Michelin star? And I don't want to say a lot of it is luck. You're right place at the right time. I remember in 2006, and I was getting a little bit of notice, and I said for years, I want a Michelin star. I didn't know what I had to do to get a star. I still don't know now. There's no criteria. There's no tick box scenario. You just have to put your all in and try and stand firm and be you. People ask that question, or the other question is, when are you going to get 2 stars? It's like, gosh, I wouldn't have a clue. It might never happen. Michelin have said to me previously, it's like a journey. It takes some people get there quicker than others, and I've been on the block a long time now. I do classify myself as one of the old chefs now in the trade, and I've had a Michelin star in my career. I've held a Michelin star for 18 years now.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love that. I also hate it in the fact that maybe I haven't stepped up another notch.
No.
And that might be where I am, but I'm happy with that. But it doesn't stop me wanting to push a bit further.
Really? Yeah. Okay. But like you said, a lot of great chefs, they started the pot wash, which is remarkable. Yeah,
when I was said to my dad I wanted to be a chef, I was probably about 12, and he wasn't best pleased about that. He thought there was easier ways to earn a living. So he got me a job in his friend's restaurant, part-time on a Saturday morning. It was called Chez Shivani's, which is in Newport in Clarence Place, and I worked there on a Saturday morning. Loved it.
Yeah.
I actually fell in love with it then, and it blossomed from there. And I was with them for a while, and then it just developed. And my dad was hell-bent that I wouldn't be a chef, but I was hell-bent I would be.
Well, and you've done a bloody good job at it. And when you step away from the kitchen one day, what would you like your legacy to be?
That I was a good person. That I put my heart and soul into what I did. That's what I'd like as a legacy. That I represented Wales well, and I don't look that far in advance.
No.
I don't think, what would be my legacy? Because who knows? The kids might not carry on being chefs, and family life gets in the way sometimes, especially for females having children. Make it a lot harder in this industry. So sometimes if Georgia has another child or another 2 or whatever, then I would find it very hard for her to juggle being a chef and or a restaurateur. So I think that would be quite hard. But I don't really know what my legacy would be. Just that I did Wales proud, I suppose.
You did. You helped prove that Wales could produce world-class restaurants, and did it without losing sight of family, hospitality, or where you came from.
100%.
Love that. What meal from your childhood would you love to reinvent at home?
If there's one thing I would like to wish I could still eat, it would be my grandmother's. She used to do brisket of beef. And it doesn't matter how many times I can try and do it now, I still can't get it to taste the same.
Get it right.
Whether or not it was amazing, it was amazing. The flavour profile was always brilliant, and the gravy was to die for. And I can't do that now. I can't do that now. And that's the one thing I wish I could try and do. Not necessarily for home, but maybe for me at home. For us to have. But yeah, it's that would be the one thing.
It sounds delicious. What would your last service menu look like?
Now, I did say that this was quite a hard question.
Should we scrap that one?
So I'm happy to answer it, because it's like, what would be my last service? Well, it depends what time of the year it is.
Well, yeah.
Because I'm so hell-bent on everything being of the time. I think it's just that. I would like that my last service would be a full one, that we could have as many customers as possible, that I could thank people for my last service, and give the time and effort into the customers that have supported me for over the time. But that's a long way off.
Of course it is. No, you've sustained success in hospitality, and it seems to come from balancing two things that can pull in opposite directions: relentless standards, genuine warmth. But home appears to have found a way to do both, which is much harder than it looks. And keeping a Michelin star, mentoring the next generation, your family, staying creative, or building a restaurant that feels genuinely welcoming. And you've just created that with home, which is what I love.
Thank you.
You're listening to Rebecca Bowen with Quite a Stir on Radio Cardiff 98.7 FM.
Welcome back to the show. We're joined with Chef James Sommerin of Home in Penarth, Michelin star chef. Thank you for elevating my show to another level. I've loved every minute of tonight. Thank you.
I've loved tonight, I must be honest.
Thank
it's been
you
really
so
cool.
much. Before we wrap up, let's talk about future events. So you've got a 5th birthday, and you'd like to talk about your doorbell, because some people don't actually ring it.
Yeah, it's quite funny. We always... So the front door at home is locked, because we don't like people just walking in off the street, because for us it's very much about capturing you at the front door.
Nice.
So we always have the door locked. So there's a little doorbell to ring, which is quite funny, because I would say probably 60% of people miss the fact that there's a doorbell, even though it says please ring.
Okay.
But it's really cool, because for us to capture you at the front door, to welcome you in, builds that anticipation of what you're going to go into see and be a part of. So little things like that. And likewise, we turned 5 this year. So next month, we're in the process of hopefully hosting a few little events through the year to celebrate, because it's quite a milestone.
Of course it is.
Especially in the times that we're in at the moment. For most businesses, it's tough. But it's something to be championed. So the 18th of next month, we turn 5. We're actually away at that time, but we're hosting up a couple of guest chef nights, which are going to be on the ticket, which will be amazing. I guess the big thing is for people to click onto our social media feeds, sign up to the newsletter that's online, and then that'll give everybody the opportunity to see first and foremost then what's going to be coming up event-wise.
Want to name drop the chefs that are...
Not at the moment, because we're still in the process of... I am hopefully, you said about different mentors and, influencing people, chefs that over the years, there's so many that you speak to, and
of course it is.
I've been in the trade 31 years, and you admire a few, so I'm hopefully going to get 1 or 2 of those to come and do the dinners throughout the year, but at this moment I'm still waiting for the confirmation go ahead on it, so I can't really say too much more than that.
Well, congratulations on your 5th birthday. Well done, you're at the top of your game there. James, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been brilliant getting a glimpse behind the scenes at home and into the mind of a chef who's helped put Welsh food firmly on the map. And if you'd like to experience James cooking for yourself, you can find him at Home in Penarth. Chef James Sommerin, thank you for your time and continued success with everything you do. There's only one thing left to say. Home, James.
Well, thank you very much. It's been amazing. I've really enjoyed this experience, and
you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
And your daughter, we'd love to see Georgia next time.
Yeah, cool. I'll give her a chip. She's looking after my little one at the moment.
Yeah, send her in next time. We'll have her take on it. We're going to leave you with Pink Floyd, another banger, and Comfortably Numb.
Radio Cardiff.